It's been a learning process, and you're never done learning. You're never done making fashion mistakes, ever. Hey, Fashionista, it's Liz Gillies, and this is how I shop. I felt good in that dress. That was one of my first red carpets, and I remember I had a fitting for it, which was like a big deal at the time. I hadn't had like a big professional fitting, and I felt good about that dress, and I felt good about my hair and makeup. So that's like a positive memory for me. And it was one of the bigger events I'd been to at the time, probably. There were many Kids' Choice Awards to come, but yeah, that was very exciting. That was sort of like a risk that I felt I was taking, and it was very fashiony at the time. I really liked the back, and I loved how it was shot from the side. I remember I felt good. My makeup artist at the time, Melanie Mills, did like a really blurry, smoky green eye, and I was like, this is so edgy. This is wild. But I was playing an edgy character on TV, so I thought it was time to start playing into that. And it was sort of a somewhat fancy little young Hollywood event, so I wanted to make sure that I was being trendy or at least trying to be fashionable in some way. So that was a bit of a risk take for me because I don't take many risks, as you'll come to find out as we continue this journey. I didn't really have any fashion identity when I first started acting. I dressed like how we all dressed it. I had a normal childhood sort of, so when I was in school, in middle school, I dressed how everyone else dressed. A lot of juicy couture. I mean, like I did what was happening. So I didn't really have an identity. But once I joined Victoria's and I started playing Jade, who was ambitious when it came to fashion and made bold choices and was also quite goth, that really stuck with me, and it made me dress quite goth for about 10 years. And then fast forward, when I did Dynasty, I really got a major education into high fashion and my body, like my silhouette and what works for me. And I think that was the most amazing thing. The shirt is fun. I get why I chose the shirt because it had multiple colors in it, which sort of emulated the energy of the Kids' Choice Awards. And I did also like this from the side. I think I mostly like to be shot from the side is what I've learned and what I've picked up about red carpets. The shorts, it was a different time. I'm amazed I showed my legs. I usually never show my legs. It's like a weird thing about me. I don't love to have my legs out. Everyone was wearing these big round toe, chunky platform pumps. And I'm just there. I'm not a fan. And I wore them to like every red carpet for like 6 years. That's the only thing. But no, this was fine. I had fun. This is good. I stand by this. This was the season 1, I think, premiere of a show I was on FX, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. And this was very vampiric and very much my style, a little bit goth, slightly old Hollywood in the hair and makeup. I was sort of finding my way at this point and what I like. The only funny memory about this was obviously I couldn't wear a bra with that dress, so I usually bring boob tape and I'm prepared, but I didn't pack any. So I had to call down to the front desk at my hotel and they had duct tape. And I used it. They didn't need that much of a lift, but I was like, I absolutely have to do something so they look perfect. So I duct taped my boobs that night. I would do it again if I needed to, but I come very prepared now, so that hopefully won't happen again. Oh, to be in my early 20s. Yeah, that's bold. That was insane. That was Alice and Olivia, I remember. I'll be honest, I felt very hot. I'm glad I did it then. I would never do it now. So I'm happy those pictures exist. And Elaine, I'm there with Elaine Hendricks, my good friend, and we were on the show together. And we were both hot that night and we were feeling it. And so I do look back at those pictures and I smile and I'm glad I took those pictures then. And this is a PSA to anybody in your 20s. You're like, I can't wear that. I can't do it now. Do it now, because you're not going to do it in your 30s. You're not going to do it in your 40s. So do it now. This was good. So at this point, I had made a decision that I went too hard into the like vampire, dark hair, vampy. That's like where I actually like to live tonally and where I feel most comfortable. But then I was like, you know what, if I'm going to book other jobs, I better go neutral for a little while. So I lightened my hair to like a reddish light brown, minimal makeup, clean look. And I loved this dress. This was a really beautiful dress. It was La Perla. It was a La Perla event, and it was a very special limited edition dress that they had. The fitting was beautiful, and it was a lovely night. And I felt very, very comfortable in it because I'm very comfortable in like anything that resembles negligee or loungewear. I'd be lounging in that and like, with a robe over it and having a martini. I'd be very happy. This is like a continuation of the pajama obsession that started. It started around this time, and my castmate Natalie Kelly, who was on Dynasty with me, would make fun of me, and she made fun of me for this one. She's like, oh wow, really mixing it up this time, Liz, because I would wear basically glorified pajamas with high heels and full glam out for maybe like 3 years. It was my thing. I'm also still doing it, by the way, and that really is kind of my sweet spot. I love it so much, and there is something so glamorous yet effortless about the fact that you can wear a silk pajama set either to bed or with a heel, and it looks very elevated, and it's always been one of my favorite things. But this one was cool because it was a great color and it had that fantastic tassel. I had a lot of thoughts. So I never should have gone to this event. I got invited to this event. I had no reason to be there, no purpose being there. I don't have music out. I didn't have music out at the time. I had no business being there. But I was bored and I didn't have anything to do and I wanted to go to LA. So I was like, yeah, whatever. So I invited my friend Raphael. We both made big choices. What I didn't understand about my outfit, which was very cool and sexy and structured in person, is like the opening here just made it look like it did not work. It looked like I had no boobs somehow, even though I actually do. And it was highly unattractive. My hairstylist bailed at the last minute, so my hair is like fried and horrible. I looked terrible. And it's one of my worst red carpets. There's a couple pictures from the side that are very good that I managed to like trick people with, but yeah, that's a horrible picture and that was bad. I think whenever you play a character, it's inevitable since you're in fittings every single week for that character and you're living most of your life as that character in their clothes, unless it's extremely specific and you're playing sort of like something that has nothing to do with you. I think that that's going to rub off on you. It's bound to, and it certainly did with me. So Jade was a massive, massive influence on my personal life, personal style. And then, of course, Fallon was absolutely huge. And I'm grateful for all of it because where we've landed now, my personal style is like somewhere between goth vampire and old Hollywood movie star. And I do think they work together, and that is really where I like to exist, with a little 70s and 60s thrown in always because I have to. I loved this dress. I was nervous to wear it. I'm always nervous just to wear like satin or silk. It's very nerve-wracking to me, especially on a red carpet. But the way this dress was cut, I think this is Jonathan Simkind. It was one of those things where it just was cut perfectly to me and I felt really good. And you know, you can't really wear any shapewear or anything under it. And I love shapewear. So I was kind of like, whoa, but I felt good about it. It worked out. It was one of those miracle things where it all worked out. It doesn't usually happen that way. That was good. I felt great in that dress. And it was a different color for me, like that cool, icy sort of gray blue. It was fun. I did have a fever, but sometimes, you know, that's the energy that kind of makes for the best photos. I was a little off my game and it mellowed me out a little bit, and I think that's why the photos were good. I mean, my style inspirations growing up were like the Olsen twins, Angelina Jolie, who literally most of the time wore leather low-cut pants and like a white t-shirt, but like for a long time, that was like the pinnacle of like, oh, this is so good. I turn to old movie stars quite often and I shop vintage as much as I can. I've been buying vintage dresses for a lot of the performances I've been doing. I do jazz shows and that's been really fun to look at these old movie stars. The clothes were cut to their bodies kind of back then in the 50s and 60s, closer to how my body is now. Like if I were to shop, I have an easier time fitting into vintage, believe it or not. A designer I've actually really been loving and I've been wearing so much of is Sao Lee. It's a fantastic brand, and every single dress I put on of theirs fits me like a glove, which never happens. And I just wore a beautiful brown silk dress of theirs to a Guerlain event. I'm amazed every single time I wear something of theirs. I think it's just an amazing brand. It feels very old Hollywood, yet very modern. I bought this fantastic vintage coat. I think it was from the 40s. Beautiful, like a going out coat. It doesn't have much warmth, but that's okay. I recently wore it to the Wicked premiere. I belted it and I wore it over my dress. I was supposed to wear this cute little Delphine, another great brand, dress, but I ended up taking the belt from that dress, little green bow, and belting it over this fantastic vintage coat. And I was so excited because I was too cold to wear it the other way, and it ended up being totally chic. Again, it just is so much fun to breathe new life into these pieces that have been around forever. It's so much fun. I love vintage a lot. I hope to just make more bold but correct fashion choices, to not fumble, although that happens and all we can do is learn from it. Maybe try something new. I am like very happy in my little old Hollywood vampire bubble, so maybe I'll branch out. Maybe I'll try something new, or maybe I won't.